Wait a minute. Did Warner Brothers just pitch like the perfect idea for Space Jam 3?
That's right, on top of the recent release of Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, it would appear that Warner Brothers is looking to get into the sweet multi-platform fighting game action with the devilishly clever title Warner Brothers Multiverses. Honestly, I can't blame them here. I haven't gotten a chance to play Nickelodeon All-Stars, but Smash Brothers is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Just the general format about how that game works has always just been so appealing to me.
You know, it might sound crazy, but back when I was in college and there was just absolutely no money to afford a Wii or the latest Smash Brothers game, me and my friends had to deal with PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale. And while it wasn't a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, it did the trick for what it was worth. And now that I'm a little bit older and I can afford a Switch, well, Smash Brothers is always on the back burner for when they come over and we can just play a couple rounds.
I can imagine that a few people listening to this might suspect that this game is going to stumble a lot like the aforementioned Nickelodeon All-Stars, but I'm not so sure. For one, it doesn't seem overly fair to judge every fighting platform game like this as a Smash Brothers killer before it has a chance to even come out. That's not even to mention that Multiverses will be bolstered by an impressive cast of beloved characters voiced by their respective talents that brought them to life in the first place. With Maisie Williams voicing Arya Stark, Batman being voiced by Kevin Conroy, and Superman by George Newbern. Additionally, the game's free-to-play status will help it stand above the other competition, especially if they start putting more characters from the Warner Brothers library as they've promised.
Needless to say, I think I understand exactly where Warner Brothers is coming from with this announcement. These games act as somewhat of a generational nostalgia piece where even non-gamers can pick up and play to their delight without being super bullied by the people who are really good at them. I mean, for what it's worth, Smash Brothers is either the most competitive fighting game franchise ever invented, or it's just a button-mashing nightmare. Seriously, for the fan base, there doesn't really seem to be an in-between for this.
You know, it is somewhat strange to me that 2 decades ago, this entire concept felt kind of cheap. Like it was just another byproduct of Nintendo churning out easily digestible party games with some of their more marquee characters. However, now it kind of feels like entertainment malpractice not to have at least one of these fighting games in your entertainment library. Seriously, I can't wait for Universal to pop one of these bad boys out in the marketplace so I can finally have a canonized long-awaited rematch between Michael Myers and Maw.
Don't make me drink alone. And I don't want to hear any of this I have homework crap. Don't make me drink alone. Don't make me drink alone.
I don't really know if this matters to anybody else, but I always thought that Smash Brothers was aided by the fact that every single character introduced felt like they could end up in the same world. And thus, almost by design, you have this big aesthetic where you have Mario coexisting with Link, Fox, the Pokemon, and everybody else who's been added over the years. And you know what? Even if it doesn't really make sense, not the direction that they took with future sequels, I feel like the entire franchise really benefited off of going on the Indian in the cupboard. You know what? On second thought, when Paramount decides to do their version of the game, that's definitely the hook they should use. Thanks, Paramount. You can send the check to 555123.
Anyway, with all that being said, here is my pitch for the Multiversal Versus film as a direction for Space Jam 3. Also, just full disclosure here, I had to look up the ending for Space Jam 2 before writing the script because I completely forgot that they stole more than just the subtitle to the Tron sequel. Regardless, we are just going to forget the ending of that movie, instead starting the movie on the fallout between Warner Brothers and the events of A New Legacy, where Don Cheadle's antagonist Algae Rhythm trapped hundreds if not thousands of people in the Warner Brothers servers and threatened to keep them there permanently. So like everything else, we begin the movie in proper franchise fashion by introducing our main lead. This time, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with a theme-setting backdrop for the importance of family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
From there, we jump into the opening credits where we learn that despite the happy ending of the last movie, the cultural scar of that moment has led to a downturn in Warner Brothers related projects over the last several years, as their new tentpole movies continuously fail to conjure up enough money for the studio to remain profitable. This leads us back to Dwayne Johnson, who approaches the Warner Brothers executives with a jaw-dropping idea: a studio-wide IP crossover event film opening the Warner Brothers universe into into new and interesting territories. Of course, the studio heads balk at this idea and send The Rock packing.
So the movie can happen. Oh, okay, gotcha.
But this pitch, along with a C or D plot, eventually leads to Algae Rhythm returning. And it's his character who takes this entire concept to heart and traps the entirety of the Warner Brothers media library, complete with all of its mini franchises, characters, and locations, and forces them into a battle to the death. Or at least in this case, they're completely erased from the internet and every saved media outlet. The big catch here is that Algae Rhythm has decided to have all of these fights streamable for the public to see, and I think we go really hard on this concept. Just throwing around a few ideas here, share yours in the comment section below, but what if the tournament were to have Superman wiping out the entire Game of Thrones universe, and afterwards the entire series is just gone? It's no longer on HBO Max, Blu-rays are literally erased, everything. You cannot watch it if you want. And we see the impact from that with all of these random bystanders throughout the movie. They can't watch Game of Thrones anymore, and literally everything else that's erased during the events of this movie. Ultimately, the threat of erasure causes the Toons to take a hint from the original film as they travel freely into the real world to kidnap The Rock to bring him back to help prepare them for the fights ahead. From there, the movie plays out with various IPs fighting each other. We get an idea that the public is now having a burst of nostalgia that they can no longer watch the content as easily as they might want to, and they start longing for that content as soon as it gets erased. At the end of the movie, Johnson and the Toons make their ways to the finals and almost get erased before coming to the understanding that all these characters don't need to be fighting because they're all part of the same family under Warner Brothers.
You never turn your back on family.
They put up a good show and once again get rid of Algae Rhythm before returning all the lost property during the course of the movie and giving Warner Brothers a nice bump in the marketplace. The movie ends with Dwayne Johnson pitching and creating Multiverses as a free-to-play game, bringing together all of Warner Brothers characters under one roof in a team-oriented fighting platform. Cut to credits.
You know what, everybody? After writing this pitch down, talking about it, saying these words out loud, I feel like it's so much more cynical than it was when I was just thinking about it in my head. But honestly, in a weird way, that's kind of keeping with the tradition of this franchise. Space Jam 2 essentially operated as nothing more than just a promotion for HBO Max, while the first Space Jam was just really meant to hype up Michael Jordan's return to basketball, as well as kind of going off of a shoe commercial of the same characters. At the end of the day, I have to be honest, I am not expecting this pitch to be universally beloved by everyone watching this video. And really, that's okay. This movie is never going to happen. But at the very least, if you think about it with me, I think that there are a lot of really interesting scenes that we can explore and talk about together in the comments. But that's just my take.
The KRW Network.
Okay, drag that over here and export. Oh my god, it takes so long to make these videos. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do it faster.
Oh, perhaps I can help with that.
What?